What happened to the DREAM Act, and was the best shot lost after the results came in the first week in November? Brent?
Well, I really think the problem mostly was due to timing. The DREAM Act could have passed in the first year of the presidency of Barack Obama. It could have passed even in the second year if it was in the first half of the second year. But the last half of the second year, I think by that time we finally got around to saying, yes, let's push for the DREAM Act and focus on that, and got the president's support to do so. The environment had changed dramatically, and we'd already had the Tea Party, and I know we're diminishing what the Tea Party's been doing, but we've had those confrontations that were taking place over the summer against the health care bill in the previous year, and the political support that the president had started to erode. I think that it wasn't so much about the DREAM Act, unfortunately, what was taking place in the fall of this past year, but about whether one party was going to allow another party to have a success or not. And it's very hard to argue your case when people are telling you it's not that I disagree with the DREAM Act, it's that I don't want it to happen right now, or I disagree with the strategy, or I think that they haven't, they waited too long, or these types of things that weren't really related to the criteria in the bill. Because if there's something in the bill that needed to be changed, I think a number of us were willing to look at that. But that wasn't what the pushback we were getting. So I think the biggest problem that we ended up having was just timing. We waited too long to push forward on the DREAM Act, and I have to give a plug here to Tom, because he was, I think, one of the first of the leadership, even before LULAC, to say, look, we got to start thinking about this down payment strategy. Let's try to get the things that we can get. If the whole comprehensive package is too big to do right now, let's get DREAM through, let's get ag jobs through, let's get some administrative changes that can make a big difference for our communities now, and then keep coming back. And I think many of us realized that that was the right strategy in hindsight. It's just that by the time we realized that, it was past the moment which we had. So I don't think going forward, though, that this means that we can't get it passed. I think actually it puts it in a stronger case. We heard a lot of people say, it's not the bill. We do think we've got to help young folks. We're not against this principle of people working hard, getting a good education, being ready to contribute to our economy. We don't want to not give them a chance. So I think we have a chance to come back and try again. But this time we've got to be better at assessing when the timing is right. And I'm hoping that when we do approach it, we do that. And I think there's certainly messaging is a key thing as well. We got beat on messaging again. We always seem to do that. Folks are trying to turn into some kind of helping more illegal immigrants come to the country using those kind of wording. And we've got to just remind folks, these are people who've been here a long time. They've gone to our high schools, they've graduated, they're ready to serve our country or go to college, and they're going to stay here and they're going to contribute to our economy. And the question is, are we going to let them do that legally or not? And I think that if we approach it in that perspective, we'll have much better success.
One of the reasons it was left to the last minute was the protracted debate over health care. Did the administration burn up too much political capital there so that there was none left for the DREAM Act when the time came?
Well, Ray, I think it's important for us to note that a majority of the House of Representatives supported the DREAM Act, voted in favor of the DREAM Act. A majority of the U.S. Senate voted in favor of the DREAM Act. A majority of the public indicated that it supported the DREAM Act. What happened was a minority of U.S. senators used the vehicle of the filibuster to block something that had majority support. And in doing that, they betrayed constitutional principles. They betrayed the education that this country provided to those students and ought to have the ability to take the fruits of that education. And they betrayed the hard work of the DREAM Act students. That's what happened. A small minority, a minority of senators used a procedure that is not in the Constitution to betray constitutional principle. And I think they ought to be held accountable for that. I think what Brent said, there's much to it about the political strategy that went on. But we were playing that strategic game because there were senators sitting in office who were willing to betray their oath to support the Constitution by abusing the filibuster to block something that had majority support of the country and of both houses of Congress.